Welcome to NWA review of, I don't know if this is Power or Power Trip and USA. Well, see it like this. When you look at the video on YouTube, you got NWA Powerrr Season 7, Episode 9. But when you watch the show, they say this is Episode 1 of Power Trip. Then why didn't you put in your comment? Your description. That is kind of confusing. What is this? Is this Power or is this Power Trip? Why don't you say in the description? Now, was this a good show? It was better than USA when it comes to the wrestling matches. Flat out, that's the truth. I'm not against USA. They've had good matches. I think content for the story is a little better than here. So, Power Trip, if that's what it is, the wrestling was very good. USA was more about building their stories up more than it was doing their matches, which only had 2. Now, first match, Jax Dean versus Eric Jackson. It was a bloodbath. He just destroyed him. At one point, he gave him such a hard hit like this, you could hear it throughout the entire arena. Not only the commentators were shocked, you can hear the people just go, damn. Now, was it a good match? It was meant to be a bloodbath. It was meant to put Jax Dean over. That's what that was. Now, maybe I should do the second match. Well, the second match, that was the second best. Now, I could say it was the first best, even though I do love Kenzie Page and Chelsea Green, but they were second best. They had their match. It was a good match showing how good Kenzie Page is. I love that woman. Think of this. When you look at Rio, who started at age of 9 in Japan, started wrestling. Not professionally, she was just starting her training. Kenzie started at 13 and has been doing it since then. She didn't really do actual matches. She was too young. It's against the law for someone to do it that young at 13. But she waited until she was 16. She did her training, and now she's been in the business, since 13. I'm not saying that she's actually wrestled professionally from 13 to 16. I'm just saying that she's been practicing since 13 to 16 and then became a legitimate wrestler by 16. You see, I'm botching is because I don't want to make this about how they're booking Kenzie. Because Kenzie is still very young in the business. She's only been working 3 years, even though she's been practicing and working 6. This year she should be 20. Because last year she was 19. She should be 20 this year, unless she already had a birthday. So she's still very young in the business. She's not ready for anything substantial yet. She just isn't. We haven't heard her talk much. She's mainly been doing matches, even though she looks very good in the ring. And when she was working with Chelsea, who is a very well-polished wrestler, she showed how good she is. She's damn good. But it also shows that she has a lot to learn about working on charisma, mic skills, and how to lead a match. Because she can wrestle a damn good match. But from what I've seen in her matches, she can't lead them. She can only work with people who can lead the beginning for her, and then she learns how to be able to go after that. That's what I learned from Kenzie Page, that she still needs someone to begin to lead her in the beginning of the match, the direction that they want the match to go to. And then she moves on to actually being able to make the story work. Because she's still not a ring general yet. She's able to wrestle in the ring, but she can't really lead the match yet. She can't put over her own opponent, which is good, but if she wants to be the type of wrestler that can lead the match, and if someone's younger than her in the business, say she gets to 10 years, she needs to be able to do that so she can teach that person just like she's being taught right now. She's learning how to lead. That's what this is about for me personally. And I wasn't surprised Green won here. There's no way Chelsea Green is going to job here. The only thing that was kind of worrisome is that her top, look, I love me Chelsea Green. She's a gorgeous woman. And her boobs look great. But as a wrestling reviewer, I don't want to worry so much that as she's doing her match, because her top wraps around under her armpit, and kind of shows a little bit of booby, which is damn good. I gotta say, it makes me a little worrisome that sooner or later, one of those boobies is gonna pop out. I mean, it can happen with anybody who has straps here or anywhere. It can happen. But with her, it's a little more apparent. I'm just saying. And that was the second best match of the show. This was the best match of the show. Flat out between both Power Trip and USA. And that is Red Tyrus versus the Kobe Karina. Now, Kobe's already in the near the semifinals to the finals now. So he's fine. But this makes you wonder where they're going to go with this. With a 2 out of 3 fall, and there is supposedly a non-title thing about it. I think that was for the television title, but I'm not sure. But the point was, this was a 2 out of 3 falls match. And these two tried to kill. They tried to kill one another. Hell yeah, they did. They tried to kill each other's ass. I'm not putting any images in this review because it's going to be uploaded immediately after I finish. But if I did, you would see that they focused entirely on each other's backs. It was brutal. Some cases you could see that with Red Tyrus, who's supposed to be part of the ROH Foundation faction, he got his side right here that Kobe grabbed him. Instead of breaking him across his knee sideways like this, like if my knee was right here and his back is here, he would go straight down. No, he had him sideways and his side here took it straight. It was brutal. You can feel that could have jarred his entire shoulder blade out of whack. And then when Kobe was doing a move where he was trying to escape and he was trying to do a jawbreaker, he went a little too far with it, and they looked like they clunked heads where Tyrus's head clunked the back of Kobe's head. So his forehead clunked Kobe's back of his head. That looked bad. But they kept going. The crowd was truly getting into it. And I got to say this to anyone. You want to go tell one of these other YouTubers that do wrestling reviews, hey, have you seen the Kobe Karina Red Tyrus match from NWA Powerrr Trip? It was a 2 out of 3 falls. It was a damn good match that you should take a look at. I would encourage you to do it because that was a damn good match. Yes, it's considered a nowhere promotion, even though it's one of the oldest organizational promotions that exist. Because NWA is the first one to bring everyone together where they can always have one title, which was NWA, and it passed from one company to another so everyone would get their moment to shine. That's what it is. But they should take a look because it was a damn good match. These guys tried to murder one another. Now, we had let me put it to you like this. When it came to Terrence Terrell facing a Camille, I love me Terrence. She was a damn great wrestler in TNA. She's not bad now. But what in the blue fuck was that? Guys, she brought water into the ring right before Camille came in. And, almost forgot. Being in, I believe it's, Oak Grove, Tennessee. I believe that's where it is. They were playing music. Normally they don't play music. In this situation, they were playing music, which was a little odd to feel. I mean, it's not bad to hear music, but from NWA that normally doesn't do it, unless they're considering this a pay-per-view, which is not, it felt a little odd. Doesn't mean it was bad. The music for Camille was actually quite nice. Did like it. But when you see this match and you see Camille periodically getting water and then eventually using it when Camille kicks her and she spits water in the face, and this is during a time where people are still awkward about COVID-19, and worry about you putting anything in each other's faces, where they're still in New York, where I know I already got the injection. I haven't gotten my booster. I'm still a little nervous about that. I'm not saying it won't make me sick. It will make me sick so I can get into more of immunity. But you know what I mean. With anxiety, you feel uncomfortable about it. Where everyone still who got the injection or not is still required or just feels normal wearing a mask. Seeing her spit in the face is like, shit, that is going far. Now, it wasn't bad. They've always done that over the years. It's just in this environment we're in, it makes it difficult to feel comfortable. So, she got her ass destroyed. And I'm going like, why did this even happen? This is what I wish. Because I know Jordynne Grace goes from one company to another. I've seen her do it. She was working Hog, House of Glory. She's gone to several other promotions and worked there. I wish she would show up on NWA. And that will get the Brick House going against Big Mama Pump. Baby, I'd pay money for that if I could spare it. I would love to see Big Mama Pump go up against the Brick House. This is Jordynne Grace. She's not a tall woman. This is Camille. She's a tall woman. But Camille is pretty damn strong. But Jordynne Grace is a damn power lifter that can lift over 400 damn pounds. She's a legitimate strength wrestler. And you got a more all-around strong wrestler in a Camille who's generally pretty fast, who's pretty strong, who's pretty agile. And then you got a Jordynne Grace. That's Camille. Jordynne Grace is mainly strong. She is quick, and does some good wrestling. But you got someone who's got good all-around wrestling compared to someone who's got good wrestling but is incredibly strong. I want to see them at each other. I'm just saying. Now, let's move on to USA. We only got 2 matches. This is more about content. The first match is Taylor versus Homicide. I wasn't surprised Taylor would lose. I was not surprised that Homicide won. He is in the junior heavyweight championship right now. So, he's got to win. Then you got Doug Williams versus one of the members of the Fixers. What is it? Bailey, sorry. I forgot his name. I always forget the names of people. Even though I know who they are, sometimes I forget. Bailey of the Fixers. And Doug trained him. Now, Doug did have an interview saying that he trained him. He knows him pretty well, so he shouldn't have too much of a problem with him. And when you saw the match, it was a damn good match, and it spotlights. Guys, this was not the best match of the night, but it truly spotlights how catch cam wrestling is. You got to understand. You got good pro wrestling, you got technical pro wrestling, and then you got catch cam pro wrestling, where it's all nearly amateur. Not saying it's 100% amateur, but they take a very heavy emphasis on wrestling near amateur. When you see Doug, you can see Doug is throwing a little bit of pro wrestling attitude, some flair in it, some basic pro wrestling moves, but he does more amateur than he does more just how you do a little bit of pro with a little bit of amateur. That was almost near amateur. And understand, this was not a fast match at all. This wasn't. This was a slow match. You do have an older wrestler and a Doug Williams, who's probably my age, a little bit older. And you got Bailey, who is not a light wrestler. He's a heavy, large wrestler who is more for power than he is for speed and agility. So the match is going to be slow. This spotlight, well, I know people are not going to like it because they're going to say it's too damn slow. It's old 80s styles wrestling. Well, yeah, that's what that was. When you look at Kobe Karina versus Red Tyrus, that isn't. And it has its own place that's great. But you can see here when you really see catch cam wrestling, which is great. Doug won, I'm not surprised. Now, the one thing I felt that, well, 2 things. One, Austin Idol was screwed with when it came to Doug Williams' partner, Nick Aldis, and Trevor Murdoch. They were screwing with him, saying that he's fallen hard times and they want to give him a GoFundMe. I don't know where they're going with that. I have no idea. I think they just want to play with him on screen. I don't think they're going to go anywhere with that when it comes to Idol Sports Media Incorporated. I just don't think so. But it was kind of funny that when all this said, we're going to get a GoFundMe going and we're going to get some books so we can get some books for Black G's so it can be tall enough to look over the damn podium. And I'm going, you went there. Look, Black G's is not tall. I'm 5'8.5", maybe 5'9" because of my my condition where I'm a bit off balance. But I think Black G's is maybe 5'4", 5'6". He's easily shorter than me. He's not a tall wrestler at all. But you can see easily they wanted to just play with him. Now, the other thing that's going to make the story of USA is what's going on with Medusa, with a Tim Storm, who was on commentary, and a Raven. Because once Natalya came out saying she wants Camille, you got Mae Valentine coming out, dressed, sexy, beautiful, angry, and smacks the taste out of the mouth of Natalya in front of Kyle Davis, who's just trying to say, please, ladies, don't get into a fight, not at the podium. And you see Raven coming out saying, who are you touching that woman? And you didn't touch her. She came right at him. He's just trying to stop them, but he didn't touch either one. And eventually, a Medusa is saying, and tapping him on the shoulder, get out. Get out or I'll throw you out. Get out. There's two possible directions here when it comes to Raven. One, he's going to be the manager of Natalia Markovich, which I can understand. Or this is still a more bigger storyline where you're going to see him continue to interfere with Tim Storm's position, then eventually a Medusa's position, and he will convince management that he needs to be in charge because he's the only one that seems to understand how to get a match done, how to keep the chaos down, how to talk to the wrestlers, and how to make all the segments flow better. That is what I think is going to happen. Either he's going to keep messing with both Medusa and Tim to finally get that position, or he's just going to be Natalya's manager. But he could also be a combination of both. He will eventually become our manager, but also he'll try and get the position as the managing director of USA. But that's what we got here, and this is just me, and I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Please give me a comment. Oh, no. You think this is over? It's not. Nope. This is a little added extra. I have to do this. I tried to record this earlier, and I botched it. Like I normally do. No. You see I botch like I normally do? I think the reason I botched in this situation is because of someone named Stefan. I can't remember his last name. And it could be a he or it could be a she. Now, I say this clearly every single time because I've seen it over the years where there have been YouTube channels that have names of men, and it's not men, it's women. Or a name that could be a woman or a man's name, and it's a man. So I can't tell you if Stefan is actually a man or a woman just by the name of his YouTube channel because he's got to have a YouTube channel to comment in YouTube. So if you're watching this, whoever you are, how you doing? Now this individual left me a message on one of my videos. I think it was, what was it? Was it Rampage, I believe? Or was it Impact? I can't remember. But this person said, I'm a big fan. I love you. I want to become a YouTuber, but I'm scared. And again, he or she leaves a message saying, I love you, but I want to do YouTube and I'm shy. Well, I thought I'd say this because I did leave two comments. One, connecting to my very true first review of Raw, I believe, or SmackDown. My very first review of SmackDown. Not the first video I ever produced of the one who will not be named. I don't think I should use that one because not everyone is very fond of Benoit. So it was like the 6th or 7th video I've ever produced. And I thought maybe this individual would see what I'm trying to explain. At that time, back in 2012, when I did this, due to the fact of I had hypertension due to the fact I have anxiety depression. I've now been diagnosed with it. I've been diagnosed by a psychiatrist. He saw I was depressed. And by a psychologist that sees that I had depression with anxiety. So I wanted to do something to get an outlet because I was stuck at home. I could not work. I was at the point of losing my apartment multiple times. I needed an outlet. But luckily for me, and I had such foresight back in 2007, around October 7th, I had a girlfriend well, not a girlfriend yet at the time. By next year, I was about to have a girlfriend. But before that, I got a chance to look at the very early YouTube within the first 2 years of it. And I decided this is something new. People are talking about it. Why not make an account? It's free. And I did. As long as I still had my Google account and my password, I can get back into it. And I've had it ever since. So when 2012 rolled around, guess what? I used it. And believe me, I say this to you, Stefan, if that is your name, that could just be the name of your boyfriend or your friend or your family member, whoever you are, guy or girl, I want to explain this to you. If you're going to see this video at all, and counting if you're not a troll, I know you're going to say, many people are going to say, no, that person might not be a troll. Believe me, in the last 10 years, I've had trolls on my channel who were talking nice and then said, oh, you look so cute with those lips. How much guys have you sucked off? That happened a couple of times. Well, more than once, somebody said it was gay. Really? That happens. But pretty much, whoever you are, if you're genuine, which you might be, I want to say this to you to give you some understanding what I went through and hopefully some encouragement. Next to the botching. That's something you need to understand. When I first started, I started with a Fuji digital camera that came out, 2003 or 4? And I got it in 2007. It was old. It had, 1.3 megapixels. I thought it was 1.2, but I think it was 1.3 megapixels. And at one point, I killed it. It was not designed to be used for video for very long. I killed the camera and I had to get a cheaper Salvelia, I believe that was the name of it. And at one point, every time when the battery began to run down, it would go boom, 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 boom. The battery would start copping out. You can check my older videos, going back almost 10 years, and you will see that as the video was running, eventually, not only the quality of the video would get bad, you would hear the sound go doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. That was driving me insane until finally I managed to get my hands on my first Canon, which was a Canon ProShot S7ep9, I believe. I still got it. I keep it as an emergency backup camera. But eventually, if I can, I'll get another one if I can save enough money to buy an extra camera just in case this one dies. But clearly, I didn't have anything when I did this. I didn't have a smartphone that could actually do it because I didn't have one. When you got no money, you got to do what you got to do. So I used whatever I could. And when I did have the money, that's when I bought this camera and the other Canon. But I want to make this clear to you. Like I said in the comments I left you, just get in front of the camera. You don't have to upload to YouTube. You need to just get used to being in front of a camera. Anyone, you wonder what it's like to actually do these types of things. It is not easy. You think when you hear me talking, and when I first started, if you look back almost 10 years, and it looks like I'm just smooth as silk in certain cases where it's like I just flowed. Believe me, before that, I had to pace back and forth just to not get so nervous. And I did multiple takes because I forget something and I have to click off, and I still do it. If I forget something, I click off and then I'll start over. That's something I'm not surprised to do. Some people mainly do that. If you want to really be clear about it, you'll stop the video. Either you'll continue and then edit it in post, or you just start over. Because you get excuse me. Allergies right here. Makes me cough, makes me hiccup, and then makes me sneeze. It's not been easy. But you see that when it comes down to it, anything could happen in these videos. And when it came to me doing these things, I didn't know what I was doing, even though, you see here, I got notes. I wrote them. I'm not great handwriters. You see I botched too. I'm not great when it comes to handwriting. I am dyslexic. I'm also a bit sloppy because I don't practice my penmanship or writing script. I believe they call it recurrence right now. Recursive, not recurrence. Recursive. They used to call writing script. Now they call it recursive. Why did they change it? Anyway, the point is, it's easy to botch on these things. It's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to get scared. It's easy that you get so frustrated you cry. There were videos that I produced where I had to be like honest like this about being who I am. And I would just break down in tears. I got no shame in saying it because it happened. There's no shame in being honest to yourself that this is not an easy thing. It's not 100% easy for anyone. There are some that just do it like that. And then there's others who have to work at it and struggle at it. There's some people that are highly charismatic when they're in front of a crowd of people. But when you stick them in front of a camera, it's a crapshoot. You don't know if they're so charismatic. It also relays onto a camera or in front of YouTube or not. You don't know. It's just you have to give it a shot. And I say this to Stefan, if that's your name. Whether it is or not, it's irrelevant. You don't have to say your real name. You don't say your government name. Remember, as wrestling fans, we have our pro wrestling names and we got our government names. As you can see with my name being Zane. That's not my real name. That's my wrestling name. But when you come down to it, just if you got a smartphone, if you got a selfie stick and you can set it up somewhere and just turn it on and just stand there and see how you feel just looking at yourself on a screen. Because that's what I had to do at first. You think it was easy to do this? It wasn't at first. It would take me 20 or 30 minutes just to see if I even had the camera in the right position. Because if you see in my older videos, I had to stand in a specific spot and I had to hope I was even in frame because the camera I currently have now has a flip up screen that I can see myself. I didn't have one. That was 10 years ago. I didn't have no damn money. I had workman's compensation. I was lucky I was able to eat. And I was doing this. So if you got a smartphone, just set it up somewhere, turn it on, and just see how you feel being filmed. Because no matter how much you want to do YouTube, if you can't stand being in front of a camera for who knows how long, I do these videos that could be up to 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Standing with a bad leg, guys. Understand, I'm not giving my entire life here, but I am disabled. I have a condition called synovial condymatosis, or synovial, where the fluid in my left hip dried up and the only thing I have is cartilage and my leg does not work anymore. You think it's easy standing like this? It's not easy. It's not even close to being easy. I tell you right now, I easily, sometimes when I'm finished, my right foot goes to sleep because standing the way I do, I don't keep my weight shifted properly, and I also have inserts in my right foot to balance my body because one leg is longer than the other because of the cartilage buildup. So it's easy for me to have pain when I'm done with this. My foot goes to sleep. Next to that, I have anxiety. And it's easy that I'm used to doing this after now, almost 1,900 videos. I'm nearing, 1870, 1880? And understand, that's not how many videos have been shown on the channel. Over the last 10 years, either I had not been able to upload and it got corrupted and had to delete it, or I had to take it down myself, or YouTube removed multiple videos because someone had a problem with it. So I have done almost 1,900 videos. I'm really close to that. So I can tell you honestly, this isn't easy. It's not always meant for somebody. It's easy to say, oh, I can do this, put myself in front of the camera and go on YouTube. It's not. You got a lot of factors to go through. And for you, the only thing I can say is this. Like I said, just if you got a smartphone or an old camera, just set it up and turn it on and see how you feel. Because before you can even say anything about wrestling or movies or music or whatever you want to talk about, you got to feel comfortable being filmed before you do any of that crap. Because if you're not comfortable in yourself, there is no way in hell you're going to be able to say anything about either pro wrestling, about politics, about music, about movies, about religion, about video games, about anime. It makes no difference. None. Zero makes any difference how enthusiastic you are and you want it. You got to actually put yourself on this. If you don't, what is the point? What is the point of wishing it all this time but never trying to give it a shot just to see if you can handle it? So I'm not being disrespectful to you, Stefan, if that's your name. What I'm telling you is, if you really want this, just turn on a camera and just stand there and just see how you feel just looking at yourself being filmed, or just being known that you're being filmed. Some people are not comfortable with it. And if you see yourself, if you can, with your smartphone, because you can't flip it and do a selfie and film that way, you got to see if you can just look at yourself and feel comfortable. If not, you got to build up the ability to do that. That's what I did. But I did it 10 years ago in a rotten apartment by myself, who at the time, and that's me, couldn't work anymore. Almost been evicted twice from my apartment. Hadn't seen my son. Owed thousands of dollars in cash because I didn't make that much money. And constantly having to go to doctors that they can see I'm hurt, but how workman's compensation works, they don't care if you're hurt. They demand you to go either back to work and get so badly hurt you quit, or that you quit and never go back so they can save as much money for the company that you're working for. That's the way it is. So that's what I was going through. Now, I'm hoping that I haven't deterred you from this. I'm honestly telling you, for me, because I did this because of anxiety and depression, because it was messing with my blood pressure, I'm not saying it helped me 100%, because even when I turn this off, I still get anxiety, I still get depression, I still get upset. That's just the way, the nature of the beast of your life. If you got depression and anxiety, it's always going to be up and down. But I can say that the interaction with people on this channel and my other channel, understand, if anyone knows me for a long time, I've always said I have a second channel. Another channel that I do dance animation on. That if you look at my earlier videos, the voice work there was me. I had to use some software to change my voice a little bit, but I did that. I managed to work with software that I didn't know, get software that allowed for the dancing, get the animated figures that was made by other people, get the sets that was made by other people, stick them together, and make something. And I'm still doing it. Admittedly, I haven't done it in the last month or so. I've been stuck. One of the things I'm working on has got me stumped a little bit, so it's made me frustrated. So I haven't uploaded anything in about a month or so. But the point is, I will eventually upload. I will continue doing my animation. I'll continue doing this. So I'm telling you again, Stefan, whatever you want, if you really want to do something about music, movies, wrestling. Oh, sorry. Told you, got it all here. This is what you get in my reviews. Natural. I don't hide anything. I don't just cut my screen when something was going wrong. I roll with it because as much as I don't like doing it, it's the truth. This is who you see here on the screen. Yes, maybe a little bit more embellished than I normally am, but this is me. This is Zane, the person that's been doing this for 10 years almost. Only a few more, how many months before my 10-year anniversary? That's in July. So it's March, April, May, June, July, 5 more months. And it'll be 10 years for me. And I've been enriched by it. It's not been easy. I've been frustrated. I've been angry. I've been scared. I've been anxiety. I've been depressed while doing it. But it's been there for me. And people like you who've been willing to watch, who say I do a decent job, not saying the most greatest job on the planet, but, doing something. So I hope you enjoyed this very long-winded video. I hope you have fun. I hope you have a good day and a good night, and peace.